Hello, you know who this is. This is the 2021 candidate for governor of Virginia. My name is Merle Rutledge Jr. And of course, I'm running for the Republican nomination, not running as an independent. I'm running for the Republican nomination. Now, let's get this thing started because I know a lot of people is all pissed off and stuff like that with all the stuff that's happening over the past week. Everybody has their emotions somewhere. But let me get this thing started. First off, let me give God the praise like I always do, which most candidates don't do. And I always started off by saying God is good all the time. Now, let's get to the point here. I know from my supporters and my critics, they all fired up and we going off the rails to win back Virginia and, of course, win back seats that we need to have because, of course, Democrats has shown what it looks like under socialist policies all throughout this pandemic. Gun control, taking away church, taking away faith, taking away anything, keeping abortion clinics open. You see the problem. You see exactly what it is. What they're doing is pushing this new world order, and Merle Rutledge is the only candidate telling them to shove it right up their ass. Now, my opponent decided to say that the Republican Party, Amanda Chase, let's just get this straight, and the campaign spokespeople tried to say that women in the Republican Party, the men, can't handle it in the Republican Party running for office. Let's cut the crap, people. We have had so many women elected through the Republican Party. Maybe Amanda Chase needs to read the Republican Creed whenever she gets a chance from her little fundraisers to take time to understand that Republican women are cherished. Look at Nikki Haley. Look at Candace Owens. Look at all the different women. Marsha Blackburn, Brenda Bowe. Republican women that have been elected to statewide office, local office, whatever office that they want to go to. The reason why they got elected is because the voters believed in them. Now, we are nowhere in line with saying that a female cannot run for the Republican nomination. That is absolutely the most idiotic statement I have ever heard. Due to the fact so many women have broken down barriers, whether it's Republican, Democrat, Independents, or whatever have you. They won because they were the best candidate for the job, and that's exactly what voters decided to pick. They didn't pick them based off of their gender. They picked them based off of their policies and how they reflected themselves on the campaign trail. Now, let me get to the monuments part because that was some stupid crap I ever heard of. Let's get to this point. It ain't a black thing. It ain't a white thing. It's a history thing, and it's a heritage thing, and it's about American history. First off, the second we start playing the race baiting into this whole monument issue, that's when everything goes from left field to right field to where nobody else know what field is in. We do not even need to play the race issue here. None whatsoever. We could win this off of basically common sense. See, Democrats and liberals, they think about the short and long term. Because basically, the argument right now would say that Egypt and Egyptian artifacts and monuments must be removed because they had some history of slavery during a certain time. Do you see them removing Egypt? Do you see them taking King Tut and saying, hey, let's cremate him? And they've been doing all this damn research on them? Let's get the facts here, people. Robert E. Lee's statue is symbolic of more than just what we think it is. Black America, white America, Hispanic, Latinos, the Indians. I'm speaking to all of y'all because y'all all got to look at this because the Indians should be able to tell you about this one. First off, if they go after your history, they will find a way to come back after others as well as yours. It has happened repeatedly throughout history. Like I said, how many field trips are we going to take away from our generations? How many lessons are we not going to be able to tell our families about our ancestors and our grandparents and our founding fathers because y'all decided to take it away. Y'all decided to destroy it. When are you going to go after the Bible? Because it talks about slavery in the Bible too. So this is what you call liberal and democratic short term. And realistically, why would you be trying to get away from history? Because I forgot, the Democratic Party was the major ones behind slavery. So what better thing for you to do during this time period is to get rid of your own dirt and your own skeletons? The fact is here, people, everything that has happened throughout history has been from God's creation, God's plan, and God's way of making sure America becomes this more perfect union. Every battle, every war, every act of heroism, every act of patriotism, every act that was done for us to know that we can persevere in any kind of obstacle that comes our way. It's our history that reminds us of that. Now, I don't need to go into the race issue like Amanda Chase did. That was stupid. First off, what really happened, let me give you a history lesson. In the city of Danville, it was a circuit court judge named Reynolds who decided to rule in the city of Danville's favor, which is the last stand of the Confederacy, to say that monuments could be removed and they are not protected by Virginia code and statute. That started it. Democrats started it. And when it happened, Charlottesville judge decided with common sense, a conservative, that said, no, those monuments are protected. So there was conflicting opinions. So then the Supreme Court, which is the liberal court in Virginia, decided to rule on behalf of Danville. So then at the same time frame, to make sure they solidified their power once Democrats took control, they made sure they passed the law to say exactly we can remove these monuments. Now, that's history, people. And if we don't learn about it, we are doomed to repeat it. See, the first thing I would have said to that liberal judge, I said, if you take away this history, I can't wait until they take away your grandfather's history. That's the way you drive an argument right on home, because you make it real for them. Because history cannot be erased no matter what you try to do to it. I said exactly. I came up with a plan. I said, you take down those monuments. Me as governor is putting it right back up. So why are you wasting tax people's money? Because I'm not going to destroy or remove history. That is part of Virginia's history. It is a part of American history. Just like the governor has executive privilege, just like marriages have marital privilege, when is America going to have American history privilege? Think about it. Because that's exactly what you're trying to say. And that's exactly what them Democrats is trying to do. All they are trying to do, people, black, white, Hispanic, whatever it may be, all they're trying to say here is, when we want to go after your history, we will. And you can't stop us because we already did it to somebody else. That's what really is happening. We have seen it throughout time. And most of this history that is being removed, like I said, is to remove the skeletons of the Democrats' slavery time away out the books. Like they don't even have to acknowledge it anymore. And as people grow older, as generations come in, they are basically taking those young people's brain and trying to program them into believing history doesn't exist. And it's only going to be the history that they teach them in their liberal schools. That's what they're trying to do. And I don't understand, even from the black, white, Indian perspective of removing history and stuff like that. Y'all talk about the textbooks where it's not teaching a certain type of history or whatever have you. Think about it. If that's already happening, why not go ahead and put a freeze to it? We should be able to respect everybody's history and learn from it. Learn from their heritage. Learn exactly what they've been through, how they came from where they started to now. What you see exactly is America becoming great again. But once again, Democrats is trying to destroy it. Plain and simple. They are trying to destroy everything about everything hardworking Americans have done and exactly the stories of our ancestors, no matter what race you are. That's what we could have said. We don't need idiots going to court and arguing like Amanda Chase right now. We don't need that. We don't even need to go to that route, because then they're going to say we are race baiting on the other end, when we could easily just say we are protecting all history, whether we find it offensive or repulsive, because it goes against our First Amendment right. It goes against the history of America. So it is a national security issue. And also at the same time frame, you are trying to remove history and set up the precedents to remove other people's history. That's what it boils down to. That's how we win. We got to play to win, not play to lose. And if we do that, what point is it, people, for us to win the Republican nomination, whether it's Amanda Chase, whether it's me, whether it's Peter Snyder, whoever is out there? If we could win the Republican nomination, but we can't win the general election, we will have over a decade of liberal, democratic, socialist policies, and we can all complain, well, at least she won the Republican nomination, but damn, nobody liked her in the general election. We have to look at why we are losing, period. Because all that talk doesn't matter. All that whatever out there doesn't matter. I told my supporters and I told my critics, and I tell them this to the same way every day. We got to get the bad blood out. I don't mind how much you argue. I don't mind how much Republican fight you have. That's exactly what it's going to take, because I want my voters to be more educated than other voters. I want them to be more aware, because you're talking and representing the Republican Party, and you need to know how these Democrats is going to come at you, and we need to be able to defend ourselves with some intelligence. Plain and simple. Them Democrats are looking at the short term, and we got to show America the long term of democratic destruction. That's why I'm the death of the Democratic Party. I know how to handle their arguments. I know how to destroy them at each and every single turn. That's why people are following the Rutledge train and jumping off board when it comes down to others, because they don't. You cannot win a general or governor of any state, especially Virginia right now, if we don't go on both sides of the railroad tracks. We talk to any and all voters. We let them know with strong compassion and conviction that the Republican Party is in the best interest of our country. That's how we win elections. But if we keep nominating snowflakes and milkshakes that just bend over for Democrats, they're going to vote for a Democrat. They're going to say, why do we need this socialist that's pretending to be Republican when we already got our pro-experienced politicians that know socialism well in the Democratic Party? Period. I'm about winning the general election. I'm about destroying every single Democrat that comes in this race and getting rid of the rhinos and the fakes and the gimmicks that's going to lose us the election in the Republican side. And I already know exactly that's going to lose us the general election. So people need to start waking the hell up about what's really going on here in America. We lost the last election by, 3 percentage points? And that gap is becoming wider and wider. And the fact is, we had 33 uncontested seats while that politician, Amanda Chase, while those politicians, Northam, Herron, and the rest of them, they was all in office while this happened. The GOP caucus, all in office while all of this happened. When your guns got taken, you saw the results because you started asking, how did we lose this election? Figure it out. 33 uncontested seats, so they have a 33-point handicap. We already lost the last two elections, right? We had 2 Democratic governors and on the way to a third one. And we have now this whole little crap going on with BLM and all this stuff, police brutality and all this crap that's going on right now. And right now they're firing up that base right there and taking those voters, those millennials right now and leading them to death. And they don't even realize it because nobody on one or the other side think they are important enough to talk to. We have to talk to each and everybody. We have to get vote by vote, inch by inch. If you are so Republican, you should be talking to at least 5 to 10 new voters per day and telling them exactly what the Republican Party is all about. Whether you have a favorite candidate or not, those voters need to be educated or we are doomed for the ignorance that we keep having happening. That's why I'm pissed off right now because we are spending so much time right now, talking about a nomination. Right now, we need to be focused on who can win us the general election, who can get us new voters to go ahead and crush that margin of error so we win by a landslide. I'm not trying to just beat the Democrats by 1 percentage point. I'm trying to beat the Democrats by 20 to 30 percentage points if I have to. Nobody or no voice, no vote, or no matter what voter, they are going to have an argument. They're going to have a debate. They're going to have a discussion. We are going to fight for that vote because exactly there's something that we must do in order to get Virginia back. It's more important than our personal feelings. My country is more important than that. And I'm sorry, talking nice to a Democratic Party that's saying fuck Trump, saying fuck Republicans, and calling us racist. Do you think, get it in your brain, they are saying that about us right now. And people are listening because we ain't speaking back to them. We ain't even defending ourselves. Me, on the other hand, I'm going to be defending myself and hitting back 20 times harder and saying, no, we ain't a racist. Look at that blackface over there. They got paid off to cover up their racism. That's how we hit back. We didn't get paid off or anything. We are the party that ended slavery. We are the party that's about equality. We are the party that's about protecting your faith. We are the party about defending your right to defend yourself. We are the party that ain't trying to kill your babies. We want your babies to live. See, we have so many different ways to go at it. Because, see, Democrats is talking about removing history, but they're also talking about removing your family bloodlines. You see how many different ways I could come at Democrats? I'm going to destroy them all throughout this race. And I am going to attack the weak. Because if you ain't cut out for the general election, you had no business in this race. Plain and simple. We have lost a decade under the old way. That's why people are going my way, because they feel a new Republican attitude. They feel and know he can go to both sides of the railroad tracks, talk to all different types of voters and get them on board and get them online with making sure Republicans win every single seat statewide. I ain't just running for governor. I'm helping other candidates too. We got a June primary right now, and we got good, solid candidates to take on Mark Warner, Bobby Scott, and the rest of them, and we're screwing it up. Plain and simple, we need to be working on every single candidate's campaign that's running for the Republican Party. When they win the nomination, we need to be having their back and making sure we're taking our state back. You can't talk about winning, and we've been losing statewide. We lost the House while people are talking about this is what you should do. We lost the Senate while people talking about the old way. We lost the governor's mansion, and people still talking about how we should do things the other way. Those losers that's going against Rutledge right now, they lost. They lost the House, they lost the Senate, and they lost the governor's mansion all within a decade. Why would you follow that? Why would you follow the losing plan? That's the point. That's what Amanda Chase offers right now. The loser's side. She's a politician, says the dumbest stuff, and guess what? They're going to eat her up in the general election, period. And you can scream all you want about white history, black history, whatever it may be, Hispanic history, all you damn well want. If the Democrats is winning, they still making the calls. Plain and simple. We can have our history. No matter who you are. We just got to stop them from destroying any parts of it. Plain and simple. And we got to stop doing this dumb stuff that has cost us a decade. Nobody cares. I'm sorry. It's just like a losing coach in the NBA. If you don't start winning, what do? You fire them and you go with somebody else, right? We have lost 10 years. 10 years, people. Of bad coaching. Bad coaching. Because Democrats is fighting us and we ain't fighting back. My campaign is fighting back. That's why the Democrats is worried about me, because they're looking at the general election, not looking at the nomination. They are saying who can beat us in a general election where it's all on the line, who becomes governor. They are not worried about a nominee, especially if it's Amanda Chase, who has already basically just said to Republicans that Republicans can't stand a woman running for office. You know how bad that sounds? Seriously. We're a sexist organization, and now, or a sexist political party, on top of the racist stuff that's going on. How much more rhino do we need in this election, or in any of our elections? We need people like Patricia Byrd, Haley Smith, Jen Vogel, all of these great women that's unapologetically Republican. Trump 2020 is not going to allow us to get embarrassed, and not going to make stupid statements that embarrass the Republican Party all across this country and put us more into a hole. Start paying attention, people. We got a general election to win. President Trump has a general election to win. The reason why he's getting black voters, white voters, Latino voters, because they're seeing strong leadership. Guess what? My number one thing I'm going to say about President Trump, when he put the hammer down and said, those riots coming in, guess what? You haven't seen all that craziness since he made that statement. That's tough call, tough leadership. And conservatives who love peace and love walking down the street without, or having a business without having to worry about having it destroyed, was applauding President Trump while CNN was blasting him. And guess what? They blasted him for even going to church. But the last time I checked, for those who are full of faith, you don't go to God when you find it convenient. You go to God when God calls you. And it doesn't matter if you make a speech. That's what people should have been saying to CNN, because men and women of faith know that. You go to God when he calls. You don't go to God because it's convenient. And I saw exactly during speech, he was so fed up, he went straight to the church and said, I'm going to pray for a nation, whether you like it or not. CNN tried to go ahead and make it something different. Pay attention to this, people. MSNBC, oh, he wanted to do a photo out with the Bible. What's so wrong with that? We all had done photo ops at church. We had all carried the Bible to church. We had all went to the church in the time of crisis. But guess what? They'll twist it all up. That's what I'm saying. There's a different type of fight to Democrats right now. And what they're doing is making every single thing that is about good morals and values into bad. That's why we have all these riots and destructions going on, because they want the world out of control. Now they want to fund the police. But see, Democrats is short term, Rutledge, Republicans, long term. See, they don't understand what the funding the police mean. See, when the police show up to their house on a call and they need an emergency, those same ones who wanted to fund the police, and the police come back and say, well, we don't have the resources anymore. You asked for the funding of the police. We can't do these type of crimes and prosecutions anymore. I know it affected you. I know this domestic violence affected you, but we don't have any money for witness protection. We don't have any money to make sure we can prosecute this case. And guess what? Each time frame they have to say it to those voters in the Democratic Party. And guess what? They're going to say, damn, I thought the funding the police wasn't meant, because they are not paying attention to all the consequences that come with that. Republicans need to know those consequences so we can hammer it home. Law and order must be here in America for all people. We understand good and bad cops, whatever it may be. The fact is, we get rid of the bad cops, but also at the same time frame, you're getting rid of the good cops. So guess what? You don't have nobody to protect you anymore. Because some bad cops ain't really bad cops. They kicking asses of pedophiles, rapists, and murderers. And I'm sorry if it so happened to arrest and go smoothly. So this is Merle Rutledge, the real 2021 candidate for governor of Virginia, having a direct discussion with my voters, my supporters, or my critics. They gonna say it the way it is. You gonna see us fight back. But guess what? We fighting for our country. That's what we are fighting for. So when it comes down to the hard times and stuff like that, going back and forth, I love it because it shows that Republicans got fired. We need to take that fire from Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, or whatever, and take it to the streets. That's exactly all of those who talking and all that crap. If they ain't in the streets knocking on doors, if they ain't out there recruiting new voters and trying to get us to win, start paying attention to where their priorities at. You may end up finding out a rhino is the very one that you've been listening to. Because if you ain't about us winning back Virginia right now, given all that we have went through during these past 2 years to this past decade, then you just talk, baby. That's all it is. You just talk. Rutledge is going to win. And I'm going to be the next governor of Virginia, because I can win the general election, not just be a nominee. If you want to be a nominee, that means you want to be a celebrity. You ain't trying to govern. You ain't trying to run the state. All you trying to do is just have a bunch of subscribers. I'm not here for subscribing. I'm not running a black Virginia. I'm not running a white Virginia. I'm not running a blue Virginia. I'm running Virginia. And that means everything in it. And that means exactly doing what I have to do. And once people start understanding that conservative wisdom and values is exactly what it takes to bring Virginia back, make Virginia red, make Virginia have the engine that continues to run, then you're going to vote Rutledge. But you want somebody sidestepping, gimmicks, waiting for celebrity photo shoots and all that crap, and they don't even have the nerve to claim they are Christian conservative, but had yet to do a Facebook Live saying, giving God the praise for putting them in that position. Start paying attention to that.